There are two amendments to the Constitution that I believe are crucial to reestablish the Constitution itself. That's the one we've been talking about with Senator Hatch, and I talked about earlier, and I wrote about in Liberty and Tyranny. That is just limiting what the federal government can spend, period. And any amount over that, you need a supermajority of both houses, which is very hard to get. There's another amendment that's been proposed by Professor Randy Barnett. Now, by the way, I hear amendments on term limits. I support all. I'm talking about the two that will actually fundamentally, effectively reestablish constitutionalism. And that amendment, for the most part, would allow the states, a certain number of states can vote to repeal a piece of federal legislation. I like that too, because otherwise the 10th Amendment is really meaningless at this point. Not because it's meaningless in the Constitution, it's meaningless because the courts have basically killed it. So we want to reestablish it and say, not only do we believe in federalism, but if a certain number of states vote to repeal a piece of federal legislation, then it's repealed. So now the federal government has to acquaint itself with the interests and desires of state legislatures and people in the states. You know what else that does? It helps break up all that K Street lobbying stuff. It's not enough just to get a vote that you want in Congress. That vote has to reflect the interests and the will of the people in the states. Those two amendments, in my humble opinion, would move us a long way in the right direction. There needs to be more. I don't believe the federal bureaucracy should be unionized, period. Civil service, fine. Unionized, no. I believe we have to break up the NEA and either apply the antitrust laws to the NEA or create competitive alternatives. In other words, if we get caught up in the green eye shade arguments that the media presses on Sundays and so forth, where would you come? Where would you? We are looking at overarching reforms that would bring down the size of government, bring down the spending, disperse power the way the founders intended. I'm not interested in debating a $13,000 expenditure. I don't care. And we're not going to waste our time responding to the left's attempt to suck us into an argument that's irrelevant. We want to argue the big picture and the big issues and the big reforms that are necessary. And that's what we do on this program. And we're going to continue to do it.